It's wonderful to be here with all of you this morning, and especially after, I would say, 2 weeks with this hurricane. I think of it 2 weeks because of all the preparation before, all the anticipation of it coming, then it comes, and now we're in the aftermath. And when we're experiencing those stressful times, sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. And so what about that attention to ourselves? And during the hurricane, I thought about 5 words by Thich Nhat Hanh. Smile, breathe, and go slowly. Repeat after me if you like. Smile, breathe, and go slowly. Feel the words as you say them. Smile, breathe, and go slowly. Pay attention to your body as you say it one more time. Smile, breathe, and go slowly. Did anything shift for you as you said this brief quote by Thich Nhat Hanh? For me, saying it and feeling it was like a short meditation for myself. I started paying attention within what was going on inside. And our whole being can change in both subtle and profound ways. Those 5 simple words, and a practice that we can do every day to change our whole perspective. I know even when I don't want to, or life doesn't seem perfect, smile. Our lives don't need to be perfect to be smiling. They just require a conscious awareness, I believe, an effort to develop that mindful awareness of just being aware of what we're doing, our thoughts, our body. I don't know, many of you might have seen, I know before the storm, a friend kept on sending me comedic videos just to get the laughing, and I started doing it on my own, and I would just like watch babies laughing or the cute animals, and you just can't help it but smile, even when there's you're knowing something is coming in your direction. And I know there's a person in everyone's life that we can just feel it within our heart when we think of them, that we just smile, that our hearts lift. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a person that we know. It could be a stranger, a complete stranger. When you see someone smiling from ear to ear, filled with that joy, you can't help but smile too. And my perspective is life is so much better when you approach it with a smile, with that mindset of optimism, of positivity. And I keep learning that you don't have, that not only do you smile for yourself, but that you can also brighten someone else's day by a simple smile. There are so many situations in our life where a smile wouldn't make things better. And those are hard times, but also I recognize that we can that we let our light shine. We smile at loved ones, we smile at coworkers, we smile at friends, neighbors, strangers, on the street. Smiles breed smiling, which brings more joy, and who doesn't want more of that, especially during a stressful time. Your smile is a beautiful gift. And I keep on thinking that we share it more often. I know as a school teacher, there are times I'm walking by and a student who I don't even know, a child, will just come up to me and smile, say hello to me, or give me a hug. And it just changes your whole entire day. The next word, breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. And I know that we're always breathing all the time. But are we really breathing? I always think about, when I think about breath, I always feel like, am I really breathing in my lower belly? Just to take that moment of pause in going within. And I always find that breathing exercises are are quick, and they also have amazing results because we're consciously breathing. And to me, I feel like that's a life changer. And it's accessible to all of us. It's just being aware of your breath. And scientists, there's lots of different studies about breathing, but it releases tension, it reduces anxiety, it also provides a solid internal focus. And I know before the hurricane, after the hurricane, just taking those deep breaths, just being in that stillness, just helped to feel like, you know what, I'm okay, I'll get through this. We're still here, still strong, still breathing, still, no matter how much of that chaotic things were going around, or they seem to be happening all around us. To me, the breath is just to concentrate solely on the experience of nourishing our bodies with air. It's just taking that moment of, okay, I'm just going to sit still and just breathe and just, I know that sometimes I just did that, or I would look at a candle, or I would look at a flower, and just, be conscious and be aware of that breath. I know when I was feeling overwhelmed, I just breathed. And it helped me to just forget a minute about everything that needs to be done. I just took one slow, deep breath at a time. If I was feeling worried, I just breathed, forgetting for a moment about everything that might go wrong. And it just helped me to change it and think, what can go right? One slow, deep breath at a time. And when I was feeling scared, just breathe. Forgetting about a minute, to forget about a minute, sometimes it was just a minute or sometimes it was several minutes, that something might hurt you. But I knew that I was going to be taking care of myself. One slow, deep breath at a time. I don't know about you, but oftentimes our world is inside our heads. And it's far more chaotic than the world outside of it. And the beautiful thing is that we have immense power to calm it by remembering just to breathe. And you know what the beautiful part is? There's no right way or wrong way. Breathing techniques are such an important part of my daily routine. And I couldn't think of starting a day without doing my breathing exercises. It has become a foundation for living with conscious presence and awareness. And I think about the breathing, and I think about the smiling as that type of just awareness of what's happening within me. Because every day is filled with choices. And the breath is our anchor. Going slowly. How often are we on overdrive or in overdrive? Our bodies, our thoughts, our schedules. Can we slow down even a little? I know for me, between being with children all day and then doing things in my home, sometimes I feel like life is just complicated. It's complicated with our egos, our agendas, our struggles, our comparisons, our judgments, our constant doing. And then what do? We rush at something, and we run the risk of messing up, sometimes big time. But by taking it slow, we get a chance to experiment with small mistakes, helping us to grow, so we can hopefully avoid the bigger mistakes in the future. I keep on reminding myself when I go slowly, it teaches us patience. And I always do this, I always teach this with my children as well. Don't rush, take your time, because if we rush, we make mistakes, then we have to do it over again. So if you don't want to do it over again, let's just take our time. Going slow also hones acceptance and gratitude. Going slowly makes room for other stuff. We get, especially with my students, we get to do things together, we have time for team building, we're interacting, we're cooperating. It's much more rewarding than when they're going fast and then all of a sudden they can't do the other things that they really want to be doing. And going slowly builds resilience. And I think about that within my own life, about the times when I took, and especially this time during the hurricane, it reminded me about going slowly, because it's like I woke up without the alarm clock. I just took my time. I didn't, especially afterwards when there was all this debris, raking and picking up the limbs, helping my neighbor. It was like I don't need to do it all at once. Taking my time even before the hurricane. Okay, I can go to the store on this day. I don't have to go on that day. And just taking my time with things, knowing that I'm doing what's appropriate, or preparing myself for what's appropriate. We always have challenges in our life, weather-wise or in our own internal challenges. But sometimes the best thing that we can do when we get caught up in our heads is to make that conscious choice to get outside of it. And to me, that has a lot to do with breathing, has a lot to do with meditation or contemplations. Because for me, it helps me to make, in many ways, maintenance for your mind. It helps you to sit there and be more conscious, and to help you to sit there and kind of clarify your thoughts. And it also recharges you. The silence, the silence will help you gain perspective on what's truly important in that moment, and prioritize your time according to your thoughts of success, and not of mayhem, and not of that chaotic energy. I always think of, I always believe that meditation is such a great ally in my life on so many levels. And sitting in silence helps me to get in touch with me, the internal me, the soul of me, the heart of me. And whether we're a newbie or a veteran, it doesn't matter, because meditation or breathing exercises is often something for everyone. And sometimes, there are times I'll do it in my car before I go into, before I walk into school, or when I come home, and just, or at the doctor's office, and just sit and just breathe for a few minutes. What's beautiful, and I can remember during my development classes, when they talked about meditation, and they talked about sitting in your power, and sitting in that silence. And I remember when I was a teenager, I used to go to yoga classes. And so after you work out and stretching and moving, you get to lie down. And this yoga instructor would always allow us that time of respite, but to breathe. And just to go in with your, to check in with your body and see how you were feeling, and taking that time. And I remember when I was doing when I first started taking classes in Casadega, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to meditate, like I have to do all these exercises, and then I'm going to have to sit there and then meditate, and it's like, and I'm thinking, no, I don't think I have to do all those exercises, even though it's really wonderful when I do the stretching with yoga. But I learned to meditate instead of laying down, sitting up and sitting in a chair. And it was just a subtle little funny moment in my mind with that transition. But that meditation allows us to stop our thoughts, to take that time when we meditate, when we're doing a breathing exercises, to stop our thoughts and to have a sense of clarity within our mind, as well as non-judgment. And it's always reminds me of thinking of it like cars passing you by, or clouds in the sky going by. And it's just to see those thoughts like, yes, I recognize you, but right now I'm breathing, or right now I am just sitting here still, and not to worry, because it's okay. And one thing beautiful with the meditations and with the breathing exercises is that we learn in time that our mind will free up a little bit, and our thoughts will lessen, and it won't be such bombardments with our thoughts and our to-do list. It helps us to find that inner balance. Because we all know that we can't force our mind to be quiet. Our mind is always racing. It's kind of reminding me when we can't sleep, and we say to ourselves, I can't sleep. And we try harder and harder to fall asleep. And what happens is that we wind up struggling more and more to sleep. It's the same thing with when we're meditating and we're only focusing on our thoughts. If we get to focus on our breath, if we get to focus on something different, our thoughts will move off to the side. It's about having a nice amount of attention and focus, but an equal balance with relaxation and rest and feeling internally secure. For me, meditation and the breathing exercise is a way for making you more mindful of your thoughts, your feelings, and a sense of who you are. It's a way for you to get to know yourself from the outside in, or from the inside out. And the beautiful thing is that we can always do the breathing exercises and incorporate breathing exercises and meditations in our life. I know sometimes when it's under a stressful time, we don't always think about that. It's afterwards. But we can start to train ourselves differently that way. Because all you really need is that quiet place to sit in a couple uninterrupted minutes. And that's the beautiful part, is to be able to sit quietly without set expectations, free of self-judgment. Because again, there's no right or wrong way. It's a beautiful channel for inner silence. Sitting there or lying unmoving and in quietude, the brain may seem anything but silent or still. But I know when there's drama in my life, my brain gets louder, my thoughts get louder. And I recognize that my energy can be zapped. But I choose to continue to grow that silence, and by nourishing it through active meditations, breathing exercises, and I feel like it anchors me. And it's also about learning to trust that silence. And sometimes, I know it happened with me, especially recently with the hurricane. That silence might have been minuscule for a few moments, and then I would have to redo that, get back into that breathing or refocusing. But it's about choice to stay in it. And the less attention that I paid to that thinking mind, the softer and dimmer the thoughts became, and the more silence and stillness that grew. And it was all about just being aware and knowing that my thoughts are going to be there, that our thoughts are going to be there. We have a body that feels and a brain that thinks, and they are all part of us. But they are not, and they do not define who you are. Because in that silence, in that moment of peace, of stillness, you become aware that you have freedom and power to choose the types of thoughts you wish to entertain and empower, and the thoughts that you wish to ignore and diffuse. Silence and stillness come hand in hand. And I always think of them as my best friends. I love them. I love my early mornings and at night, just before I go to bed, for when I shut my lids or close my eyes and meditate or do a breathing exercise. And I get to disappear for that moment into inner peace, stillness, and silence. And I realize that that's my heart, that's my soul, that's my true essence. And I think of those, stillness and that silence, they are my teachers. Because in silence, my head was lighter, and clarity emerge on its own accord. And I get to then go slowly and move ahead. Because that inner strength revealed itself, which helped me to let go, to forgive myself, to release pent-up emotions and unfold into compassion and my true nature of love. What I've learned is that while our busy lives can make it seem difficult to reflect on our experiences, taking some time for self is necessary if we will learn to grow. It's just about being aware of our breath, being aware of our own inner strength. Because life, with all its ups and downs, keeps reminding me it serves us well when we slow down and smile and breathe fully. Thank you.